Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in as always. Really cool piece today. I have this on loan from the designer, but we're going to take a look at the Kizer Megatherium, and this is a collaboration with designer Elijah Isham. So pretty excited for this piece. I've actually been bugging Elijah for a couple weeks to get my hands on this one. This particular piece is his personal prototype. There were only two prototypes sent to him of this model. One he auctioned, that one's already gone, and then this one will remain his, his special piece there. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background on Elijah since he is newer, and then we'll get into the specs, overall impressions, all that good stuff. So Kizer's done a pretty good job the last year or two as far as their, stepping away from the in-house designs and moving to collaborative pieces with U.S. makers, anywhere from the old school guys like Matt Kuchara, Michael Venino, Scott Masuka, and as well as collaborating with newer designers or newer makers such as Matt Degnan. I know I'm going to be forgetting some, but also of course Elijah Isham here. So Elijah started designing knives back in 2012, started out with bushcraft, a year later went to design his first folder. He's done a few other collaborations up to this point, one with Browse Blades, Toxic Blade Works, Alexander Dietz, we'll talk about that in a moment, Blackstone Valley, Cooley Customs, Matt Christensen. So he's actually made quite a few leaps and bounds being relatively new in the kind of knife community. So as far as if you guys have seen this design before, this was one of his first designs that he made, I think back in 2014 was when he initially designed this. And then he got with custom knife modder, knife maker Alexander Dietz. Alexander took his design, renamed it the Acacia after a tree, since all his designs were named after trees. And then he made 3 of this model, and then he dropped off the face of the earth. So Elijah got screwed along with a ton of other people. But at that point, or now later, Kizer did pick up this design from Elijah. So really happy to see it with a reputable and good company. And yeah, let's talk about it. So this is a flipper. It's a bolster lock. It's a frame lock with a bolster over it, commonly called bolster locks. Obviously full titanium. S35VN, runs on bearings, stainless steel lock insert, custom kind of 3D sculpted clip, really nice clip. We'll take a look at that. Let's talk about the specs real quick. So the overall, blade length, and we're measuring just the cutting edge here, it's just about 3.6 inches. Handle length is 5 inches, giving us an overall of about 8.6 inches. The handle thickness is 0.55 inches. The width, this is going to be an important measurement for some of you guys, is about 1.9 inches. It does weigh in at 5.5 ounces. And this one, it's not out yet. It'll come out at the end of January 2017, maybe February 2017. So end of January, sometime mid-February. And the street price is looking like it'll be somewhere around $250. I've been looking for Kizer to kind of step it up, move to the next level. I think this piece does that to actually quite a good degree here, but I'm happy to hear that the prices are going to stay relatively in the ballpark. They're not taking, jumping up a couple $100 as some of the other overseas manufacturers have done, moving from, 1 year to the next. So there's still a degree of value in the equation, which I'm pretty happy about. Now, size comparison real quick. The Kizer the Kershaw CQC7K, and some pretty big size differences as you would expect here. That's a pretty good representation right there. Alright, so let's look at this one in detail. Really interesting kind of, I don't even know what the blade should, like a modified Warncliffe with a huge drop point and a swedge. It does have a really interesting opening hole here that flows into the design, quite dramatically. Removes a lot of visual space, so when this thing's closed, it actually looks I want to say looks a little bit smaller than it is, and then you open it up and you have this huge blade. So very, very useful blade shape, plenty of, small degree of belly, but plenty of working surface. So let me see if I can get in here. There's a chamfer around the inside of the opening hole, so there's no sharp edges. You have he calls this, I believe, a pseudo choil, Elijah does here, so you can choke up on it, and this curved portion here works really, really well. So very comfortable in the hand in essentially all positions here. Let me show you guys. So there's a normal grip. But yeah, but it's unique. It's pretty wild overall. I mean, I think Elijah has a very pronounced design language, and that's quite hard to do these days. Being a new designer, a new maker, to have a language that's essentially yours and that it's very recognizable as your design. So pretty cool to see it put into put into production here on this model. So the flipper tab works really, really well. I haven't been able to get it to fail on deployment, so pretty well tuned, not hard to flip at all. And similarly, the opening hole here works really well also. Middle finger, I missed there, thumb. You can do a slow roll as well, but they really did a good job optimizing the action. Let's take a look at the markings. Kizer S35V, and of course there is the model number. On this side we have Elijah's maker's mark. So I'm getting really close there, Megatherium, and then again this is one of 2 prototypes, so you won't see any more marked prototype. Alright, coming back to the handle, and of course you guys have probably noticed that the flipper tab disappears into the handle here. And so there's no visible flipper tab when it's open. When it's closed, it's visible. So, yeah. Alright, so the handle is very, very unique as well. You have the way that the handle integrates and covers the flipper creates a very positive forward guard. I mean, if you were doing thrusting cuts, you wouldn't have to worry about slipping on this one at all. Let's take a look here. A lot of millwork. You can see the different planes here, different angles. Does integrate with the unidirectional carbon fiber, so that's a nice touch as well. Some really nice carbon fiber. You can see how it's mated here with the titanium handle. And a pretty good fit and finish overall. Let's take a look at this really nice pocket clip too. So this one, they did a lot of work on this pocket clip here. As you can see, it is rounded on the top. On the edge here, it's rounded. They left plenty of gap for jeans, but a lot of work went into that pocket clip there. It works beautifully. I mean, it carries, well, not super deep, but I mean deep enough. I mean, you pretty much have that much poking out of the pocket there, so works well as a traction point. You do have 2 standoffs on the back, leaving a relatively open design. And this is, again, I mean, it's essentially a frame lock, but you have a bolster covering a portion of it, and so some call these bolster locks. Doesn't really matter. Essentially, it functions as a frame lock. But does take extra work as far as the milling on the frame and trying to get it to integrate really well and still have, nice, clean, not overly large gaps there. So, yeah, that's essentially how it functions. They did a good job, doing some large chamfers here to make it easy to disengage. Lockup is solid. And it's probably about, I don't know, 40% there. Really, really smooth as well. It's a big heavy blade. Where's the balance? The balance, this one is blade heavy, plus you're a little bit further back due to the design of the handle here, guard, whatever you want to call it, but it is blade heavy. It's not going to be right where your first finger is, as it is on a lot of other knives. Anyhow, he does have another collaboration in the works called the Theta. That's a small 3.25-inch blade. Similar design language, but a different design. Obviously, significantly smaller. And he has posted pictures of that on his Instagram, so you guys can go check that out. I will leave all the pertinent links down in the description box below. So, anyways, really cool design. Really happy I got to check this one out and show you guys a video. I just think it's a unique design. It's interesting. It's almost, it's not over the top, but it's just so unique. I think his design language is really, really cool. Still very functional. Just fantastic lines. Looks like something in motion, But anyways, thanks again, Elijah, for sending me this one. I got to carry it a couple times and fondle it and do the video here. This one, sadly, will have to go back, but I'm definitely, assuming funds allow, I'll be on the lookout for this one at the end of January, beginning of February 2017 here. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. Comments or questions, let me know down below. Aside from his collaborations with Kizer, he does have a few other collaborations in the works, most of which he can't speak about just yet, but he's got some big stuff coming, so we'll see a lot of great things from Elijah going forward. And we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Take care.